Welcome to my top 50 players for the 2024 NFL Draft. It's going to work kind of like a big board, obviously, although I don't have even up to 150 players. I usually like to do film study for 150. Wasn't quite able to make it up to that number this year, but I still was able to compile a top 50. No mock draft Monday, even on Monday, saving that for Tuesday or Wednesday. Of course, I will be live for the NFL Draft on Thursday on this channel, so make sure to be here. But I want to get a little bit more information before I release my final predictive mock draft. Of course, very difficult to be very accurate, but the more information, the better. So I want to be as accurate as possible. Hopefully we can nail maybe even as many as 10 picks correctly this year. It's a lot to shoot for, even though it doesn't seem like it. It's a lot to shoot for. That's the goal. First, I want to talk about some honorable mentions. Of course, can't get everybody into a top 50. It's very difficult, but I know there are going to be questions about Bo Nix and Michael Penix. Dominic Pooney I have in here as well. Elite pass protecting tackle that's going to move inside the guard at the next level. Some of that's due to oversetting due to speed. Going to be better suited to play guard probably. Ja'Tavion Sanders, I think, is right in the mix to be the second tight end drafted. I just worry, okay, he didn't test quite as well as I thought he would. Was he schemed open at Texas, or did he make those plays individually? The hands are not a question with him at all. They're fantastic. Bo Nix, the completion percentage is great. The offense at Oregon really just had him checked down a lot. And the true accuracy, not as great as the completion percentage would indicate, and also a very late breakout age for him. Jonathan Brooks, 1 year of being a starter coming off a torn ACL, but the tape's really good. The vision could be improved, but only 1 year as a starter. The burst, the ability to make guys miss at the next level, second and third, elite. Jonathan Brooks is a really, really fun player. And then for Michael Penix Jr., he played with two elite tackles, Roger Rosengarten, who also is an honorable mention here for me in the top 50, Troy Fautanu, who you're going to hear about a little bit later. 3 top 100 receivers, top 100 players overall, receivers, Jalen McMillan, Jalen Polk, Roma Dunze, who's a special player who you're going to see in the top 10, I'll tell you right now. Just his true accuracy isn't actually anything special. Those receivers bailed him out a lot. Of course, had an amazing game against Texas. Best game of his college career, no question. People think I hate him for that reason. Just trying to be more realistic about some of his limitations. Doesn't mean he can't develop. Doesn't mean he can't get better. But right now, this is what I'm seeing. You can value it or not. That's up to you, obviously. I would say Ennis Rakestraw from Mizzou is in this conversation. Andrew Phillips, of course. I would say that Michael Hall, pass rush from Ohio State, defensive tackle. Great pass rushing interior defensive lineman. Ruka Roro from Clemson. Great run defending defensive tackle. Jalen Wright, the running back from Tennessee. Really great athlete. Could see him being an RB1 type guy, maybe the head of a committee. Ricky Pearsall probably deserves mention. You know, maybe Peyton Wilson as well. Max Melton, I know a lot of people are really, really high on. There's so many players in this class that are so good, and it's just tough to include everybody. So hopefully you enjoy my top 50. And let's get right into it. Doing my best here with the graphics and on Twitter to not get this video taken down from using the actual footage. Hopefully this suffices for you guys. But at number 50, I've got Xavier Legette from South Carolina. Big, strong, and fast. Also, late breakout year for him. You heard me reference that with some of the players on the outside looking in. But I think there's a real chance Xavier Legette just ends up being a very, very good NFL player. Did not run a complicated route tree at South Carolina, but on the few things he does very well. Get him on a crosser, get him deep down the field, give him the ball underneath on screens. He can definitely make it work. Great after the catch, can go up and get the football as well. I think he deserves a spot in the top 50. At number 49, I have Kingsley Suamataia from BYU. Has played left tackle, has played right tackle, had a decent Senior Bowl performance as well. Think he might be best suited as a guard in the NFL, but another guy who's very athletic, big, strong, fast on the offensive line. If he can get coached up, he can be a very, very good player. I thought Trey Benson deserved a spot in the top 50. Comes in at number 48 for me. I think he's the best running back in the class because he has the fewest question marks. Pad level gets a little bit too high, runs a little bit too upright. But again, to talk about guys like Xavier Legette, Kingsley Suamataia, big, strong, and fast is exactly what Trey Benson is. I think he might have the easiest projection for an RB1 in the NFL. Very, very good player. Can also catch the ball. Checks a lot of boxes. At number 47, I have Georgia corner Kamari Lassiter. He is quicker than he is fast. Posted an incredible 3-cone at the combine. But this is just a guy who comes out and plays. Great ball production, sticky, and physical. I love Kamari Lassiter. I think he definitely deserves a spot in the top 50. I could see him being a very solid, reliable starting corner in the NFL. And at number 46, I have his teammate Javon Bullard. I list him as a DB. I think he's a safety or a nickel at the next level. He is just a big-time player as well. He can come down and hit. He's sticky in coverage as well, and maybe a little bit undersized. Tested pretty well, better than expected, to be honest. I think he's going to be a really solid NFL player, and even though everyone consistently and continually underrates these nickel corners, I think they are incredibly valuable in the modern NFL. When you see so many 3 wide receiver sets, I think Javon Bullard is worth taking a shot on, probably inside the top 50, and that's why I have him here on this list. Andrew Phillips should have been another honorable mention as well as a nickel corner I'm extremely high on. But here we have a safety. Jaden Hicks getting all these DBs off the board here early. Hicks is arguably the best safety in this class. I do value him over Tyler Nubin, certainly Cam Kinchins. I think he is a very, very good player. I think he can be a tight end eraser if you want him to play that role. He's very, very good in the box, but is also athletic enough to play over the top and too high. I think he's a really, really solid player and was incredible against Washington, as you can see here on the screen. At number 44, speaking of Washington, I have Washington receiver Jalen Polk. I'm extremely high on him as a player. I think he's probably a slot receiver at the next level, but he can definitely play the Z. He's got exceptional ball skills. His catch radius is so wide, and that's partially why I might be lower on Michael Penix. If he was not exactly on target, it didn't matter. Jalen Polk was able to go up and get the football. Incredible playmaker and is good after the catch. He checks off a lot of boxes. Maybe not top-tier speed and athleticism overall, but can definitely jump, can definitely go up and get the football. This guy is a highlight reel catch machine. At number 43, I have Western Michigan defensive end Marshawn Nealand. I think he has flexibility depending on the scheme. Wouldn't really call him a 3-4 outside linebacker, but I think he could play it. Really, you're looking at a 4-3 defensive end with big-time power. Production was not exactly top tier at Western Michigan, but I think he has an NFL skill set with his relentless motor and power. I think he's going to be a good pro. Speaking of flexibility, this is one with even more. Darius Robinson, I think, is definitely not a 3-4 outside linebacker, but a 3-4 defensive end, 4-3 defensive end. I think he can move inside on obvious pass rush downs to play defensive tackle. That's 3 all the way to the 5 tech. I think he's athletic enough to do that. I think he's big enough to do that, where you're also comfortable with him against the run, but certainly comfortable with him against the run as a 4-3 defensive end, a true edge setter. Robinson was unblockable at the Senior Bowl. This is a really, really good player that kind of reminds me of new Houston Texan pickup from the Tennessee Titans, Indanico Autry. I think he's a really good player, has continued to get better with age and refinement. I think Robinson could be of that same mold. Another Senior Bowl standout, it's a Western Michigan transfer, Braden Fisk from Florida State. He is explosive as all hell, was unblockable at the Senior Bowl, was also, I believe, Senior Bowl game MVP. Or no, if not, he should have been. He should have been, but may have been cheated. Braden Fisk, he lacks in length is the big knock on him, and that's a problem in the trenches. Got to be able to get hands on these offensive linemen first. But explosiveness, not a problem at all. He lived in the backfield. It's just, are the short arms going to be a problem in the NFL? At number 40, I have Michigan's Chris Jenkins, interior defensive lineman. I think he's a 3 tech, ideally at the next level. This is not somebody that's going to be a nose tackle like his dad was at 6'3", 300 pounds. Very quick, very fast. Untapped potential for Chris Jenkins. You can see he often is able to keep his pad level quite low, be a really good player. I just wish keeping his pad level low was something he was able to do with more consistency, but the athleticism is all over the place. I'd like to see him develop his hands as a pass rusher, and that's unlocking the next level for him as a player. At number 39, I have UConn's Christian Haynes, maybe the best true guard in the class. Of course, you can project Jordan Morgan or Graham Barton, Troy Fautanu, Talisa Fuaga to guard. You know, all these different guys could move inside, but Christian Haynes probably the best true guard in the class. He is strong as all hell. He's able to use his hands especially well. Also, placement, power, off the charts with Christian Haynes. I think he definitely deserves a top 40 spot. Project him as a starting right guard very, very soon in the NFL. At number 38, I have Edgerrin Cooper, linebacker from Texas A&M. He's going to be an NFL outside linebacker. He's likely going to be a will, and he's got exceptional athleticism, 6'2", 230, with big time speed, sideline to sideline type pursuit. And of course, a lot of that shows up as a blitzer, not maybe sideline to sideline, but the exceptional explosiveness and speed. He's also able to stack and shed on tight ends quite easily at times. It's just the eyes aren't great. He can get fooled by misdirection. He can get his eyes caught in the backfield, but the athleticism is off the charts and the potential is untapped. At number 37, I have Michigan's Mike Sainristil. He is as tough as they come. The competitiveness is off the charts when you watch him. Some of that might just be, okay, well, he's 5'9", 5'10", hitting whoever, whether it's a tight end, fullback, running back. I mean, this guy is not afraid to come up and lay the wood. He is so quick. Definitely someone that I could see being a great NFL player. I've seen comps to Mike Hilton from Jordan Reed at ESPN. I couldn't agree more. Undersized, but you would not know it watching him play. He's a playmaker waiting to happen. I don't like him quite as much as I did for Brian Branch, but oh my goodness, this is the best nickel in the class, and I feel very good about it. At number 36, Hook'em got Texas receiver Xavier Worthy, also showing off the arm here. Worthy is obviously fast. There's no question about that. Play strength is a question, but this is someone who's not afraid to seek out contact. He's got elite deep ball tracking ability. Wasn't exactly there in 2022, but it was off the charts in 2023. Played with a broken hand in 2022, which led to some drops, but I don't really think it's going to be a problem in the NFL. It's just contested catch situations is really the big hang up for me. I think he's got good route running underneath. He's not just a deep ball guy. This is someone who can take screens to the house very easily as well. He's an elite return man. This is someone who I think will be a very solid NFL player in some capacity. Maybe that's, an Andre Roberts, where he's just an elite return man. Maybe it's a big-time deep threat, like we've seen with a Hollywood Brown at the top end of the spectrum. But Worthy still needs to develop as a route runner, but has flash signs of greatness. So I think he checks off a lot of boxes. Maybe you can call it Texas bias, but I think this is going to be a really solid NFL player. At number 35, maybe not Texas bias, I have Oklahoma right tackle Tyler Guyton, was a transfer from TCU and is a freak athlete with elite size, 6'7", 325 pounds, and can move. Also very strong. Also had a pretty good week at the Senior Bowl. This is someone who is really, really high in terms of potential in this class. Could be one of the better tackles that we end up seeing if development goes right. Of course, being so tall, pad level can certainly get too high. You can even see it there a little bit, but not too much of a problem when he's bigger than everybody else. But this is someone who is a freak athlete. I think he could also slide over to left tackle. I think he's athletic enough to be able to do that. You don't really see college right tackles make that move very often. I think Guyton could be one of those guys, but also could be a very good NFL right tackle. Again, needs to develop as a player, needs to not overset so much when he's worried about speed. You're athletic enough. You don't need to. At number 34, I have Zach Frazier from West Virginia. The competitiveness is off the charts. He was able to save West Virginia a timeout at the end of a game, playing with a broken leg on the play. He is so strong. He's also able to move. This is a starting NFL center, and I've ranked him accordingly. At number 33, I have Michigan quarterback J.J. McCarthy. I really had a tough time figuring out what to do because it's a lot of projection with him, but I think he's got big time potential as well. He is a good athlete. He has very good arm talent. It's just sometimes you can see inconsistencies as a passer. We've heard about him opening up and not being able to throw to his left side, but I think some of those things are extremely fixable. He's also one of the younger players in this entire class. It's not exactly fair to compare a 20 or 21-year-old player to a 24-year-old like Bo Nix or Michael Penix, basically, where these guys have been in college for 6 years, and McCarthy's only been a starter for a couple of years. He's shown the ability to play in a pro-style offense and go through progressions and make spectacular plays a couple times a game. It was just they ran the ball so frequently, but did they trust him to throw? And I would say, yeah, they did, because when they needed him to make a big play on 3rd or 4th down when the running game wasn't working, and it mostly always was, he was able to deliver. I think McCarthy has big time potential. Just need to see him be a little bit more consistent and more accurate at times. He just missed here or there, and I worry about the small sample. But he definitely flashed. He's definitely young, definitely high potential. He could be a very solid NFL starting quarterback. I just didn't really know exactly where to rank him because it's a lot of projection right now. Very different positions, but I've ranked a safer player ahead of J.J. McCarthy at number 32. It's Alabama's Ga'Quincy Kool-Aid McKinstry. I'll tell you, Ga'Quincy McKinstry is kind of a fun name to say, but Kool-Aid McKinstry comes in at 32. He is polished as a player. He's not the freakiest, twitchiest athlete. He doesn't exactly have a ton of ball production as well, but this guy is really, really smart. He's able to come down and play the run. He's able to be an impactful special teams player. He has great length, even for a 5'11" corner. And, of course, one of the better press players in this class. I think he's going to be a really solid player. Don't know if he's ever going to be truly elite, but I think he's going to be a really solid player. You can see the patience there to mirror and match the route, jump in zone coverage, get the interception. Kool-Aid McKinstry is a really solid player. At number 31, I have Ladd McConkey. McConkey is slept on, for lack of a better term. He is a really, really good player. He's not the biggest guy, but he is very, very fast, and you can constantly see that speed on full display. He's a great route runner with very good hands, and this is not someone that's also bad at going up and getting the football. This is someone who's able to hold on to the ball through contact. He's someone that I think will be a very good pro as well. I have the utmost faith in that. It's just the route running, the speed, the hands. It screams 10-year NFL vet. He is such a good player. Injuries have kind of kept him off the field and has kept the production down from what it actually could be. But this is a first-round type talent. At number 30, I have Clemson corner Nate Wiggins. I ended up bringing him down from where I was initially going to rank him based off of his 2022 film. And I still like him as a player. Obviously has super elite speed. Ran sub 4.3 at the combine, and that speed was evident on tape. He is so fast, and of course has a couple of amazing chase down plays as well. Has true man-to-man island type potential. He has CB1 potential. He is just so bad against the run that I question, okay, is he going to be a true lockdown CB to make up for, teams going to be running at him at will? I thought he was going to be longer. Arms came in a little bit short, and I think that does inhibit him as a press man player at the next level. Of course, has a history of injuries as well, and when you're only about 170 pounds, I question whether that might be a lagging, lingering thing in the NFL. But of course, you can see the chase down here. Incredible effort, incredible play. He is an awesome player. I just have a couple of question marks that made me rank him a little bit lower. But if there's anyone that can make me look stupid, it's going to be Nate Wiggins. He could end up being a top 5 or 10 corner in the NFL, and it wouldn't surprise me in the least. I just worry about the injury and the run defending. At number 29, I have Jackson Powers Johnson, center from Oregon. Could potentially play guard as well. He's definitely strong enough, big enough to be able to do that. He's definitely amazing out in space. His quickness is pretty incredible. The one thing that kind of concerns me, maybe even two things, is he's not the longest guy. And again, length does matter in the trenches. Maybe less so on the interior. I think center, you can get away with it. And he's so strong and so fast that maybe it's not so much of an issue. And of course, sometimes the pad level gets a little bit too high. But these are correctable mistakes, if you want to call them mistakes. He's got big-time potential. I see a starting NFL center as well. But I could also see him work at guard. At number 28, I have Michigan linebacker Junior Colson. And I'm okay being higher on him than everybody else seems to be. And now, that's not to say that people don't have him as LB1, as I have heard that. But I think Colson is a fringe first-round talent. He checks off so many boxes. He's got size. He's got exceptional speed. He's very good in coverage. He doesn't miss tackles. He's able to come down ferociously and hit offensive linemen and shed blocks. This is a complete player. He is a Mike linebacker at the next level that checks off pretty much every conceivable box. I love him as a player. I think he's absolutely a first-round talent. If a guy like Jack Campbell is going to go top 20, I would easily take Junior Colson in the first round if I were a team that needed a linebacker in that range. He is an exceptional player, in my opinion. 28, I'm talking about, it almost feels too low. Plays a less valuable position of linebacker, but oh my goodness, is he fun to watch. And again, size, speed, doesn't miss tackles, good in coverage. What more do you really want? At number 27, I have Jordan Morgan, offensive lineman from Arizona. Played left tackle at Arizona. I think he's going to be an NFL guard. Why is that? Well, he's oversetting due to speed a lot, and that leaves him susceptible to the inside move. I think that's less of a problem at guard. And also, he doesn't exactly have elite length, but it's good enough. Like, he potentially could stick at tackle if you needed him to, but I think his best NFL position is at guard. He's very, very strong. He's a good athlete as well. I think he could be a very good guard and a good tackle. I don't think he would be a terrible left tackle in the NFL, and even right tackle in a pinch. He's a really solid player. At number 26, I have Penn State edge rusher Damian Chop Robinson, and he is a monster. He is arguably the best overall athlete in the entire class when you factor in, 6'3", 250 with 4.4 type speed. His twitch, his explosiveness is off the chart and has flashed good hand usage. The swipe is his favorite move, but really needs to develop some counter moves if that first thing doesn't work. He needs to be more disciplined, staying in his lane as a run defender. But of course, a lot of that is with NFL coaching. That stuff gets better. You really, as cliche as it sounds, you cannot teach this type of top tier burst, athleticism, and bend. Man, this is a fun player to watch. If he puts it all together, wow, he is going to be a freak. At number 25, I have Keon Coleman, and I might even end up being a little bit lower on him than I should be. I mean, 25 seems a little bit low for a player that I think is really, really good with wide receiver 1 upside. He is incredible with the football in the air. Oh my goodness, this guy is unbelievable at going up and getting the ball. He is the best jump ball player in the class, but he's also very good after the catch, and that's not only evident from this play, but as a return man as well. 6'4", 215 pounds, and returns punts for Florida State, and does so extremely effectively. Yeah, beating press can be a bit of a problem here. Jared Feinberg, great follow as well, points that out, and it's not top-tier explosiveness and quickness from Keon Coleman. But for his size, it is very, very good. I think, obviously, he has room to grow as a route runner, but he's not as bad as you would think by the way that some people talk about him. For his size, he is quite good. Still developing as a player. If he was in Johnny Wilson's role at Florida State, he could have been even better in 2023. Of course, had some injury stuff down the road, second half of the season as well. Maybe that limited some production a little bit, but at his peak, this is a dominant wide receiver 1 type player. I love Keon Coleman. Graham Barton comes in at 24. Have him listed at offensive line. He played center, played left tackle at Duke, projects to be an NFL guard or center. This guy's a really, really fun player. Again, very strong finisher in the run game as well, as you can see Daniel pointed out here. And what is finishing? It means not only winning your block, but getting that guy down to the ground, eliminating them from the play. Offensive line coaches at the next level love the finishers. We'll talk about Talisa Fuaga a little bit later. Of course, Trevor Penning got a lot of hype as a finisher, a tackle back in the day, but Barton is a more complete player, just doesn't have NFL-type length to play tackle, which is why he's expected to move inside. But the hands are great, the strength is great, he's a really good athlete overall. This is an NFL player with potentially at least 3 to 5 position flexibility in the NFL. Think like an Elton Jenkins. This guy's a stud. At number 23, I have Johnny Newton, Jerzon Newton from Illinois, interior defensive lineman. He is your prototypical 3 technique with super athletic ability. He is explosive and twitchy on the interior. He is unbelievable as a pass rusher. Lived in the backfield for Illinois. This is a really, really fun player to watch. I just think that due to his size, 6 foot, 6'1", 300 pounds, I saw him get washed up in the run game a little bit too much, but he's just too fast for most interior offensive linemen. I'm really interested to see how he ends up developing as a pro, because the potential is off the charts. Just, is he more of a designated pass rusher, or is he a 3-down type player? I think he has that 3-down potential, but at the very least, he's going to be a very, very good pass rusher. At number 22, I have Adonai A.D. Mitchell, receiver from Texas by way of Georgia. Mitchell is a really, really fun player. He's a great athlete. Thought he might have been closer to 6'3 or 6'4, but came into the combine 6'2", 205. Obviously tested freakishly well in terms of jumping, in terms of running. And that is evident on tape. He's a super athlete with great route running ability for his size. Can go up and get the football. It's just, he's got an extensive injury history. Didn't play a whole lot at Georgia, and maybe that was part of why he transferred, but he came on and made big plays when he was healthy at Georgia. That wasn't the concern. Of course, if he's not involved in the read, in the progression, he doesn't really give big time effort. He said at the combine he's like an 85% guy, so he can stay out for the entire drive. I don't know if that's going to fly in the NFL, but the potential is incredible with him. It's just, he is such a fluid mover for his size. The body control is great. I mean, the potential with Adonai Mitchell is just so good. And I mean, I obviously had to put him on my top 25. He doesn't offer a ton after the catch, but I'm so excited to see what he can turn into at the next level. At number 21, I have Talisa Fuaga from Oregon State, played right tackle. Could be a better NFL guard. Just has, whatever length. It's not incredible, but was pretty good as a pass protector at Oregon State. Just kind of has that oversetting problem that you see as well. And that could push him inside to guard as well. We talked about that with Jordan Morgan. Sometimes these guys overset because they're worried about the speed. You can be aggressive, and pass pro is not passive guy when you move inside to guard a little bit more than you can at tackle, because if you're trying to be, super aggressive and maybe beat a guy to a spot, you can get crushed in the NFL if you're doing that. And, it wasn't really too much of a problem at Oregon State. Guys couldn't take advantage of that problem as often. But, man, this guy's an unbelievable run blocker. He is a mauler. He is a finisher. He's a good athlete. He is a good player. I guess this would be my number one safety in the class, Cooper DeJean, DB from Iowa. I think he can stick at corner. I think his best role in the NFL is a safety / nickel. I think he can move all over the field, make plays all over the place. I mean, you look at what Kyle Hamilton was able to do as a rookie with the Ravens. I mean, this is, somebody that I think has similar flexibility. DeJean, I am incredibly high on as a player. He's a really good athlete, and I think he can play man. He can play zone. He can come up and tackle, doesn't miss tackles. This is a great player. Also offers special teams value as well. He's just a football player, man. I hate to just use that cliche term, first guy in, last guy out, lunch pail guy. But, man, this guy does everything so well. Why limit him to one-on-one on the boundary if he can just play all over and have a bigger impact on the game? This guy's a stud. At number 19, I have Amarius Mims, offensive tackle from Georgia. This guy's a freak. I mean, he's 6'8", 340. He's got super long arms. He's super strong. Very athletic overall. He is an unbelievable type prospect. If he played more than 8 starts, he would be talked about like the best tackle in this class. A lot of his problems are just due to inexperience. And I think, the footwork can improve, even though they seem fast. It's just not in the right place all the time, if you want to put it in layman's terms. This is someone who, is maybe not the best at, seeing exactly what's going on, but that it's an inexperienced thing. I think if he gets more snaps, more reps under his belt, especially with an NFL offensive line coach, this guy's going to be an absolute monster in the NFL. He might end up being the steal of the draft, and he's going to be a first-round pick. He has infinite potential. At number 18, I have Jared Verse, pass rusher from Florida State, transfer from Albany. He got even better in 2023 as a complete prospect. He is as powerful as they come. His hands are super powerful. He got more disciplined in 2023. He really learned how to play defensive end more than just, get after the quarterback. He was able to stay disciplined in his rush lanes. He was able to edge set. He is a really, really good prospect who is also a really talented athlete. We talked about this guy as a potential top 10 pick a year ago, and I don't think he's done a ton to hurt his stock. We just were able to get more film on him, and maybe he's not quite that top 10 type player in a super freak offensive class, but he is really, really good. At number 17, I have wide receiver Brian Thomas Jr. out of LSU, who has big time potential. He's got great ability to go up and get the football. He's explosive. He's twitchy with great deep speed. He can get over the top. He put up the most touchdowns in college football in 2023, and he's got elite size as well. If I didn't mention that, 6'3", 210, ran 4.33 at the combine, and that was not a surprise. He's also good after the catch. It's just, what is he going to be at the next level? Is he just a deep threat? I know, of course, if you watch at LSU, it's a lot of comebacks, it's curls, and it's streaks, and maybe deep crosses. But Thomas Jr., in order for him to take that next step, He needs to evolve as a complete player, as a route runner, but the athletic ability indicates he should be able to do so. You're not going to teach that size and speed and jump ball ability. At number 16, I have Alabama corner Terrion Arnold from Alabama, of course. Usually an Alabama corner is going to be from Alabama. That was well said for me. But Arnold, I mean, I described it in this tweet here in February. He is a pest. He does everything right. He comes up and he tackles. He's an elite processor, which means he's able to diagnose run plays in an instant. He's able to diagnose route concepts that he's seen before. He's sticky in coverage. He can play great in man or zone. This guy does everything really, really well. It's just maybe lacking top tier athleticism. He's got, 4 or 5 speed, and that shows up on tape. He's not the super freak twitchy athlete, but does everything else at an elite level. He is a very rock solid player, and I like his aggressiveness a little bit more than I do with Kool-Aid McKinstry. He's a little bit more passive. Terrion Arnold is CB1 type potential in the NFL. At number 15, I have Alabama edge rusher Dallas Turner. Again, like Chop Robinson, super freak athlete. He is strong, he is fast, he is bendy, and that's what you want from an edge rusher, somebody that can turn the corner, elite ankle flexion, and he is a very good run defender as well. It's just, does he have the elite hands that you'd require of an NFL pass rusher? Is he just going to bull rush and use speed? Or is he going to be somebody that can develop, counter moves that can take his game up to the next level? We'll have to see. At number 14, I have Toledo corner Quinyon Mitchell. He is a prototype cornerback. He is super fast with good length, good overall size. Of course, a lot of what he was asked to do at Toledo was play off coverage and then trigger downhill and make plays. But you can see the twitch, the athleticism on full display when he does that. He's not maybe the best run defender ever, but it's good. It's solid. It's significantly better than a guy like Nate Wiggins, for example. But he seems to be not only a great man cover player because of his speed, his length, but he's also great in zone. And that was a lot of what he was doing at Toledo. I think he's going to be a really, really great player. The reason I prefer him to Terrion Arnold is the ceiling as an athletic type player. The ceiling as an athlete, he's just more athletic. He's twitchier. He's faster down the field. I have fewer questions about his athleticism. I have none than I do with Terrion Arnold. They both do everything really, really well. Arnold's better against the run. I think Mitchell has higher coverage potential. At number 13, I have Texas interior defensive lineman Byron Murphy, Hook'em Horns, final Texas player ranked here in the top 50. And Byron Murphy's a special player. He's an unbelievable player. Of course, he's going down to 1 or 2 knees often, but he's not movable. Playing in the trenches, it is a leverage game, and nobody does it better than Byron Murphy does. He is unbelievable at being the low man, and he's so strong and so fast. He also lives in the backfield. He also has good hands as a pass rusher. The only thing you have on him is he's small. 6 foot, 308 he was listed at, maybe even sub 300. I think he was at the combine. But super athlete. Will miss some tackles at times too, but of course, he does everything so well. I think that's something you can clean up. You can't really, teach his absurd athletic ability and play strength, ability to stop the run. He can play over the center. He can play 3-tech. He can move all across the defensive line. He's an elite prospect. At number 12, I have Washington offensive tackle that is projected to move inside at the next level, Troy Fautanu from, of course, Washington. Do I keep repeating that? Hopefully not. He's really, really good. He's got incredible quickness and speed. He has great balance. His hands always seem to be in the right spot. I think he's long enough to stick at tackle. Of course, only 6'3", but 34-inch arm says that he should be able to stick out at tackle and be fine. He's just so technically sound. He's going to be a really good guard if they want to do that. Of course, we talk about the oversets with some of these tackles. It's still a problem for Troy Fautanu, which maybe is why he's better suited to play guard. I think he'd be a really, really good guard, but I also think he'd be a rock-solid tackle. It's the combination of athleticism and hands. It's arguably the best in the class. Speaking of tackles that could move to guard, J.C. Latham from Alabama also has the oversetting problem, but He's so big and so strong. I kind of look at DeJuan Jones and I say, you can't get by this guy. And it worked for DeJuan Jones last year with the Browns. And Latham is a far superior prospect. He's maybe the strongest tackle prospect I've ever seen. His hands are so strong. Once he latches on, you are not going anywhere. He is incredible in that facet. He's got also elite size that we talked about and is a really, really good athlete. You know, I hesitate to project these Alabama offensive tackles because Evan Neal, right? These guys that are really great athletes that maybe, okay, he's got a problem with oversetting. He, maybe is going to be a bust, whatever. I don't think it's the same deal. I'm of course, mimicking what other people are saying there. Oh, scout the helmet, not the player for some reason. He's got great balance. That was something that Evan Neal sometimes struggled with. I think Latham's going to be a great pro. At number 10, I have Penn State tackle Olu Fashanu. Of course, it is Fashanu. He's a fan of the channel. Great guy. Tempted to rank him even higher as a result, right? No, but I think he's fantastic. He's arguably the best pure pass protecting player in this class. He's got great footwork, great hands. He's a great athlete. It's just, okay, some power rushers gave him problems at times. You look at Ohio State, JT Tuimoloau, Jack Sawyer. He wasn't exactly dominant against these guys like he was against seemingly everybody else, but he's still a rock-solid top 10 player in the class. He improved as a run blocker in 2023. It was much worse in 2022. It was still okay. But as a pass protector, he is arguably the best in the class and improved as a run blocker. I love Olu Fashanu as a prospect. Easy top 10 player. At number 9, I have LSU quarterback Jaden Daniels. If I get down on Michael Penix, I got to talk about it for Jaden Daniels. Elite receiving group. Brian Thomas Jr., Malik Neighbors, going to be first-round picks. Elite tackle duo. Emory Jones at right tackle, Will Campbell at left tackle. Jaden Daniels didn't really face a ton of pressure, and when he did, it wasn't so great against it. But the difference between him and Michael Penix Jr. is not only is Jaden Daniels way better athletically, not even just pure speed, but he's a twitchy athlete. He's got way better downfield accuracy. He was as accurate downfield as any quarterback in the country. Far superior to Michael Penix Jr. in that capacity. I don't hate Penix. People think I hate Penix. I'm just trying to be realistic about his limitations. Does not mean he can't be an effective pro and develop as a player, but Jaden Daniels is there already from an accuracy standpoint. The guy is pinpoint down the field and obviously has so much plus ability as a runner. Just wish he wouldn't take all these crazy hits. It is what it is. Of course, like Penix Jr. as well, doesn't really throw over the middle of the field too often. But he's shown that he can. It's not something that, oh, this guy simply can't do it. It's just sometimes his first instinct is run, which concerns me a little bit. But, even though he's missed some concepts, in breaking routes, LSU didn't really run that many of them. Maybe he's not used to throwing it. And then I saw one miss for Jaden Daniels, took off to run instead, still scrambled for the first down, missed an in-breaker across the field. But then they went back to the same look later in the game, and he hit it in stride perfectly. So I think Daniels has big-time potential, but the accuracy is what takes him up to the next level for me. He is super accurate. At number 8, I have big-time draft rush for over a year now. That's UCLA's Laiatu Latu. Of course, formerly of Washington, had to medically retire from football. And I'm factoring that into the ranking a little bit here, but I love Laiatu Latu. He's a good enough athlete with good enough length, even if it's not exceptional, but the polish as a pass rusher is what takes him up to the top of the draft for me. He's able to play with great leverage, but the hands are incredible. It's not even just the first move. This guy has counter moves for days. He will not let you block him. It just simply will not happen. He is the most refined pass rusher in the class very easily for me. I know he's going to be a good player. Now, is he ever going to be super elite? That's another question. But I think he's going to be, at minimum, very good. And that's an easy top 10 player in the class again. He's just so polished and technically refined. Laiatu Latu is the best defensive player in the class for me. At number 7, I have Notre Dame tackle Joe Alt. He played left tackle. He should be an NFL left tackle. Maybe if a team like the Chargers takes him, he moves over from left to the right side. But he should definitely stick on the left side if it were up to me. He has that type of upside and ability. He's an NFL left tackle. Has a background playing tight end, and you can see it, man. The footwork's great. He moves like he's not 6'8", 320 or 325. He is maybe the most athletic offensive tackle of all time. Can I confirm this? All right, RAS at MathBum on Twitter has Joe Alt as the 23rd most athletic offensive tackle of all time. He didn't do agility testing, but he's got really good footwork and movement skills in space, so I don't know why he wouldn't. I feel like he would have tested pretty well in that regard, but size overall, that's height, weight, length, speed, explosiveness. I mean, he checks all the boxes, man. Is he the strongest guy in the class? No, he's not J.C. Latham. He's not Talisa Fuaga, but he does everything so well. The 2023 tape was elite. I was not a huge believer in him as OT1 in 2022, but he took it up to another level in 2023, and he deserves to be OT1 off the board, I think. At number 6 is Brock Bowers. You had to know he was going to be pretty high on this list, but just how high was I going to rank a tight end? Well, this is not just your typical tight end. Throw back to the Kyle Pitts versatile weapon talk. Brock Bowers is a similar type playmaker. I don't know how many tight ends can just turn screens into touchdowns, but Brock Bowers is able to do it with regularity. He can get down the field easily. He is a good blocker. Not amazing against big defensive linemen, but linebackers, DBs, no question, and can hold his own against a defensive end or certainly an outside linebacker. He is someone that I think is in the conversation for best overall player regardless of position in this draft. But of course, tight end, I am factoring it in a little bit. But I mean, he is a freak athlete with great hands, great run after catch ability, and here's a backflip for good measure. At number 5, I have Washington receiver Rome Odunze. Polish is the name of the game with Odunze, and he's a good athlete. I mean, this was a deep threat type player. Was his claim to fame in 2022, but really evolved in 2023. His route running ability is as good as anyone's in the class. He's got great size at 6'3", 215 pounds. He is unreal against press. His body control is arguably the best in the class. He does everything so well. He is a jump ball machine as well, and you can see if Penix doesn't deliver the ball with pinpoint accuracy, it doesn't matter because Rome Odunze is just that good. If you have a quarterback that wants to take a chance down the field, if you want to be aggressive, it's hard to find a player that you can be more aggressive with than Rome Odunze. Give him a chance, he will come down with it. He is so talented. And that's why it was so tough to rank Malik Neighbors ahead of him at number 4. But I just think the potential is just a little bit higher. He's so good after the catch. He is such a freak athlete. He's so good at getting down the field. And that's in any way possible with the football or without it. As a route runner, he definitely is quite good, but not elite. But his ability to change direction, the footwork, the speed, I think he's going to be able to develop as a route runner in the NFL. And his ability after the catch, his speed, his ability to win downfield, that stuff is just freakish. I think his upside is as big as anyone's in this draft, and that's why he comes in at number 4. At number 3, I have Marvin Harrison Jr., receiver from Ohio State. He is a monster. We all know it. We've heard about it now for a couple of years. It's evident. It's not a name carrying him at all. He is such a good route runner with great size, 6'3", 210. Didn't test, but he is fast. GPS times will confirm that. I don't know if he's a super explosive guy. That's maybe a thing. But and he's not super great after the catch, but his ability to go up and get the football, the body control, everything is so good with Marvin Harrison Jr. The one thing I've consistently said over the course of the entire draft process, and not just, hey, if Kyle McCord wasn't at quarterback, we'd be talking about this guy like the best college receiver of all time. Marvin Harrison Jr. has an uncanny ability to make the super difficult play look like a walk in the park. Super easy. I've never seen anything like it, really. Super, super difficult plays. It just looks like another day for Marvin Harrison Jr. he's going to be an exceptional player. Surprise, surprise, at number 2, it's Caleb Williams, quarterback from USC. I mean, he is an incredible player. And we'll talk more about number 1 here in a minute. Obviously, you guys know it's Drake Maye at this point, but it's more just how high I am on Drake Maye than low on Caleb Williams. As I've said the entire process, it's 1A and 1B. It's just which one do you prefer? And for me, it was so close. But I do happen to prefer Drake Maye a little bit more. We'll talk about it in a minute because Caleb Williams is not a perfect prospect. He does have flaws, but something he can do, he's an elite improviser with incredible arm talent. That's great arm strength. That's great accuracy, especially down the field. This guy is a playmaker of the utmost variety. He is so good. And the bad offensive line didn't do much to stop him at USC. I just do have questions about him within the construct of the play because sometimes the offensive line was protecting and he's like, all right, I got to make a play. And it's like, you can just throw to the open guy. That's kind of the only hang up with me or for me on him. And he's so great. I think that stuff can get cleaned up. But it's just, you don't have to be Superman, right? You can just do what the play is asking you to do sometimes. And maybe he gets into the bad habit because the USC offensive line was so bad. But I just think that, in the NFL, a lot of the stuff that he does to improvise, buy time, make guys miss, I don't know that it's going to be as effective as it was in the pack. That's just kind of the only thing. I think he's a great player, but I just do have concerns about him operating within the construct of the play, but he is so good. I think he's a future franchise QB. He's my number 2 player in the entire draft. I just want to be realistic about some of his concerns. And yes, that means for me, my QB1, my player 1 is Drake Maye. What a special player. I know people are lower on him now. Nothing has really changed for me. I've been super impressed. Drake Maye is a future franchise quarterback for me. He is so accurate down the field. He's also able to run and improvise near an elite level. He had also no help at UNC. I worry that he goes to a bad situation and it becomes like Justin Herbert where people don't appreciate just how truly this guy is. But in terms of arm talent, and that's not only just top-tier arm strength, but accuracy, this guy's incredible. He is so accurate. He can play within the construct and out of the construct of the play. When the play breaks down, Drake Maye will make a play. When there isn't a play breaking down, he has to stay in the pocket, climb the pocket, make a throw. Drake Maye can do that at an elite level. He is a super talented player that needs to be hyped up more. He is not the 3rd best quarterback in this class. For me, he is the best quarterback in the class. There is not a window he can't throw into. There is not a throw down the field that he can't hit. I mean, hell, he's even made throws with his left hand. The guy is a freak. Yes, maybe, some of the stuff comes up with, all right, you don't have to be a superhero, Drake. Just get rid of the ball, throw it away. But the talent is just unbelievable. And if you're just going to throw it away every time you get pressure, you're not going to get special plays like this. And I just think Maye is a special talent, special player. And if you get him behind an offensive line that can protect him with any type of receiving talent, he is going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. We'll have to see if that ends up happening. A lot of projection, of course, but he is such a talented player. And for me, the best player in the 2024 NFL Draft. That's my top 50. That's the big board this year. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Take it easy.